Honestly, I looked like Humpty Dumpty. The problem is the waistband is way too wide. There's so much gathering at the front and it sits a bit too high on me. So to start off, I'm cutting off the waistband and I'm cutting off as close to just below the waistline as possible, so I'm not cutting off excess fabric in case we need it. So I'm cutting all the way around and just making sure that I cut off the label as well. If you want to keep the label, you can always reattach it later. So I guess you can say we've kind of fixed problem one, which is the waistband being a bit too big. Granted, we'll have to put the elastic back on there, but in the meantime, we're moving on to fixing the gaping or the gathering around the waist as well. So I turn my bag of shorts inside out and I'm taking in the front crotch by about 1 inch. So to do that, I'm taking in the bit that will sit at our waist by about 1 inch, and then for the bottom, I'm just pinning where the crotch sits and kind of tapering off that by pinning it, so I know exactly where I'm going to be stitching. As you can see, I haven't taken in anything from the crotch itself because that section does not need adjusting, at least for me. So I'm just taking in the front crotch and tapering it off all the way down until we get to that point. So it would be kind of like I'm stitching in a very slanted triangle. I'm using the overcast stitch on my sewing machine to do this. Granted, if you don't have this stitch, you can use a zigzag stitch instead. Then I'm just grabbing my scissors and I'm cutting off the excess from what we've just stitched so that we have a nice flat seam here that we're working with. Granted, I'd say try it on to make sure that you've taken in enough, and you can always go back in and take in more if you need to. Now we've fixed problem 2, we need to re-add our elastic to the bag of shorts. So to do that, instead of adding a separate waistband, I'm going to add an elasticated kind of waistband. To do that, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch elastic instead of the 1 inch. So all I need to do is go around the circumference of my waist and I'm pinning it down by about 1/2 inch, or rather 3/4 of an inch. So we've pinned all the way around. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to stitch this down. I'm going to use my zigzag stitch on my sewing machine, and we're going to leave about 1 inch, or about 1/2 inch that is, unsewn. So I'll probably start here and end here, just so that I have space to add the elastic in afterwards. So I have my tape measure and I also have my elastic, and you want to measure the circumference of your waist. Mine is about 27. I'm going to cut 26 just because I want it to fit me a bit more snugly. So now we need to thread the elastic through the casing that we've created on the waistband of the shorts. Normally I would use a safety pin, but I keep having this issue where it unlocks like halfway through and it just gets stuck and it's impossible to take out. So we're using this hairpin hack that I've seen instead. So I'm just tying my elastic through the hairpin, and then I'm going to insert that hairpin into the small gap that we left unsewn, and I'm pushing that or threading that all the way around the casing until it pops out the other end. The hardest part of this, I'll admit, was untying the elastic once it got all the way through, but it was definitely much easier than a safety pin. So definitely give this hack a try if the safety pin method doesn't work for you either. So I've untied the knot, it's thread all the way through. Now I'm just going to overlap the elastic here, and I'm going to stitch down here to hold that in place. And I'm just going to stitch a line. Let's be so honest, this could have been neater, but it will do, it's holding it secure. So now I'm just pulling the rest of the shorts to make sure the elastic has gone through or is evenly distributed around the shorts. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this gap, but to make sure that it's as neat as possible, I'm going to take my scissors and trim off the excess, and then I'm going to stitch this gap closed. So this is what the new shorts are looking like. I think the elastic is looking better already. I'm just going to try it on to make sure it's fine, and I'll show you guys what it looks like as well. So this is the after. looking so much better. So let me know if you did enjoy this tutorial, and make sure you check out this video next. Bye guys.